ISD Board of Trustees to order. Let the minutes reflect that a quorum of trustees are present, that this meeting has been duly called, and that notice that this meeting has been posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meeting Act. The time is now 6 p.m. Those trustees present today and comprising the quorum are Mr. Patrick Kennedy, Mr. Andrew Gonzalez, Coach Armando Cuellar, and myself, Mr. Nieto. Opening prayer, Dr. Canales.
Board of Trustees, Mr. Robledo will introduce our faculty member who will be saying the opening prayer, and then our students for the pledges.
I'd like to introduce from Rudy Silva Elementary, third grade teacher Ricardo Vargas, who will deliver the invocation.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank my principal at Rudy Silva Elementary, Mrs. Sonia Gonzalez, for this opportunity to lead our district in prayer. Please bow your heads. Father God, we give you all the praise and glory. Thank you for giving us our peace, protection, prosperity, or provision, Lord. Wherever we go, we're welcome, celebrated, and invited. Thank you for covering us in your favor and grace each and every day. Thank you for being our great defender and protector from all evil. Lord Jesus, we ask that you give us all the wisdom, Lord, to make all the decisions, the best decisions for our students here at Weslaco ISD to continue to be the beacon of light here in the valley and in the state of Texas. Lord Jesus, I'm reminded by your scripture, Philippians 4:13, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Each and every day we're reminded that we can only do great things through you. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen. Pledge of Allegiance and Texas Pledge, Dr. Canales.
We have two students from Rudy Silva Junior Elementary that will be leading us in the pledges.
We have two students come up here, please. And I would like to introduce to you two students from Silva Elementary who will be leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance and the Texas Pledge. First, we have Roberto Vallejo, who is a fifth grade student at Rodolfo Rudy Silva Junior Elementary. He is the son of Leticia and Mario Vallejo. Roberto is a Superior Honor Roll student and has received Masters in Math and Reading for the past 2 years. He recently competed in the District UIL meet where he placed in number sense. Roberto is a member of the Silva Singers, the Mariachi, and the Leader in Me Junior Lighthouse. Roberto's favorite subject is reading, and he enjoys playing in the Mid-Valley Youth Soccer League and also the Weslaco Little League. When he graduates, Roberto hopes to attend Texas State University and join the zoology program. He wants to be a zoologist and travel around the world to help endangered animals. How big hand for Roberto Vallejo. And if its parents are here, can they please stand and be recognized, parents? Also with us here is Kirsten Jade Pineda, and she is also a fifth grader at Silva, and her parents are Casey and Waldo Pineda. Kirsten is also a Superior Honor Roll student. Her favorite subject is math, and she enjoys playing video games. After graduation, Kirsten plans to attend UT Austin. Her dream job would be to become an FBI agent, and she would also enjoy learning the art of filmmaking. One day, she would love to become a business owner, and since she loves Whataburger, she would one day like to own a Whataburger. How about a big hand for Kirsten J. Pineda. If her parents are here, can they please stand and be recognized, parents? Will everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? All right, kids, whenever you all are ready, you can lead us. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Texas Pledge. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 5, awards and recognitions. Dr. Canales?
Board of Trustees, we have a few recognitions, awards and recognitions this evening. Mr. Robledo will lead us through those.
All right, well, first of all, we'd like to start off, how about a big hand as they enter the room, some students from Weslaco High School, some talented musicians.
Second line. There you go. Right?
Yeah, 3 rows of kids here. All right,
Oh,
so
okay.
what we have here tonight, we want to congratulate members of the high school bands who recently qualified for the Texas
yes.
Solo and Ensemble Contest held in Austin, UT Austin. Our band students will represent Weslaco ISD at the state level in competition. And this will take place in May. So what I want to do is I want to introduce you, and as I say your name, can you please either raise your hand or step forward so we could recognize you, okay? I'd like to start off with Victoria Abrego. Valerie Alejandro. Mariah Yepes. Emily Anciso. Bethany Lowe. Raymond Sanchez. Isabel Tinoco. Gabriel Ray. George Chavez. Roque Martinez. Lydia Guerrero. Esteban Núñez. Ricardo Peña. Maricruz Perez. Connor Bustillos. Eric Carvajal. Mia Cavazos. There you go. Diego Martinez. Angel Colon. Carol Estrada. Did I say it right or? Next time. Next time. Taryn Salceda. Antonio Borjas. Joseph Cardona. Robert Guzman. Ricardo Ibarra. Up next, we have Abraham Mireles. Also, we have Jonathan Alvarado. Up next, Ryan Rivera. Ryan. Jeremy Abrego. Also, Anthony Anciso. Mar Cardenas. Isaiah Lopez. Job Perales. Fernando Perez. Oliver Serrano. Derek Cavazos. Members of the orchestra, Fernando Perez. Jacob Leal. Marlene Guzman. Davina Garcia. Cristina Torres. Beyonce Gomez. And I know we have members of the choir that are also here, right? I can see them right there. Would y'all like to step forward so that I can introduce you because I don't have them written down here? Christian Flores. Okay, we also have Christian Torres. Okay. All right, and we do have members of the choir also. Can I have your name, please? Gabriela Hasso. Bella Adame. Ashley Cantu. And Miss Johnson. We get everybody recognized here tonight. There's a lot of them. Thank you very much. And once again, congratulations.
Congratulations.
If their parents are here, can the parents please stand and be recognized, parents? And we'd also like to introduce the band director, congratulate the band director, Rodrigo Leal. All right, kids, y'all can exit this way. Congratulations once again.
Good job. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Good job.
Good job, guys.
I think I got my steps in.
Congrats, thank you.
The next group, right? We have another group? East.
All right, up next, we'd like to introduce some very special, talented band students from Weslaco East High School.
Caballero. Oh, yes, she is.
Once again, these are students who recently qualified for the Texas Soul and Ensemble competition, which will take place at UT Austin in May. And as I say your name, if you can please step forward or raise your hand so you can be recognized. I'd like to start off with Andrea Perez. Carlos Molina. Isabel Sanchez. Miguel Peña. Anthony Ortiz. Nathaniel Almaguer. Alexis Cruz. Gerardo Vasquez. Clarissa Alvarez. Raylene Delgado. Cassandra Galnares. Alyssa Hernandez. Julia Lopez. Michaela Moreno. Liliana Alcantar. Sydney Caballero. Isabel Gatton. Priscilla Caballero. Crystal Gonzalez. Brandon Carrasco. Carlos Molina. Part of the orchestra, Delina Gonzalez. We'd also like to recognize the parents. The parents are here. Can they please stand and be recognized, parents? And we'd also like to recognize their head band director, Armando Cuellar. Thank you very much, students.
Thank you, students.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Y'all can exit this way.
Congratulations.
Good job.
Cindy, you told your dad needs to take you to dinner.
Both
Where's
of them
Priscilla? Where's
back
Priscilla?
here.
Oh, Priscilla, tell her. Tell him.
Take.
Got her right here. Right. All right. Let the record reflect that Mr. Lopez came in at 6:10. Item number 6, proclamation for Family, Career, and Community Leadership Week, February 10th through 14th. Dr. Canales?
We're very proud to have several proclamations this month in honor of all our great staff. And so, Mr. Robledo, let's start with the first one.
That's right. We have 4 proclamations. We're going to start off with FCCA Leadership Week. I know we have members here who are involved in FCCLA. If they can please stand to be recognized. Different organizations, different groups. So this proclamation is for you all. You can stay standing. That'll make it official. Whereas Family, Career, and Community Leaders of America, the national nonprofit student organization for family and consumer science students through grade 12, help youth assume their role in society through family and consumer science education in areas of personal growth, family life, vocational preparation, and community involvement. Whereas the organization extends classroom learning through chapter projects that develop leadership and initiatives and helps young men and women learn how to plan, make decisions, and carry out and evaluate programs of action as they work with other youth and adults in their school and community. And whereas Family, Career, and Community Leaders of America offer members an opportunity to work together for common purposes for the improvement of themselves, their families, and their communities, therefore, Isidoro Nieto, President of the Weslaco Independent School District Board of Trustees, does hereby proclaim the week of February 10th through the 14th as FCCLA Leadership Week at Weslaco ISD. Congratulations.
And also, congratulations to the sponsors, Mrs. Martin and Ms. Carranza, for a standing job that you do with our programs. All right, item number 7, proclamation for Career and Technical Education Month, February 2020. Dr. Canales?
Well,
Okay.
and this, for CTE, we celebrate the whole month of February. We have lots of wonderful programs that are part of CTE. A shout out to culinary arts students. Ms. Tejerina, thank you so much for preparing the bread for all of us earlier today. And students, I see several of you here. We're very proud of everything that you do. Every time you show up, you represent yourself, your family, your wonderful teachers and administrators on Weslaco ISD very, very well. And to the sponsor, to the teachers, the CTE teachers and staff, along with the FCCLA, you know, the whole thing about it's about improving self, so you're a better self for you, for families, and for others. And this is the greatness of Weslaco ISD. So, Mr. Robledo, proclamation.
Okay, so I know we have some students here with CTE. If they can please stand and be recognized, wave to the crowd. I know we have culinary arts, FFA here.
There's a whole bunch here.
All these, yeah.
Over here,
So I'm going to read
too.
this proclamation for you. Whereas February 1st through the 29th, 2020 has been designated Career and Technical Education Month by the Association of Career and Technical Education, and whereas profound economic and technological changes in our society are rapidly reflected in the structure and nature of work, thereby placing new and additional responsibilities on our educational system, and whereas career and technical education provides Americans with school-to-career connection and is the backbone for a strong and well-educated workforce, which fosters productivity in business and industry and contributes to America's leadership in the international marketplace. Therefore, Isidoro Nieto, President of the WISD Board of Trustees, does hereby proclaim February 2020 as Career and Technical Education Month. Congratulations.
Yay.
Thank you. Item number 8, proclamation for Educational Diagnostician Week, March 2nd through the 6th. Dr. Canales.
And then we start the proclamations for March, beginning with our Educational Diagnosticians Week. And I believe we do have several here.
Oh, they're over there. Yeah, let's wait for the students.
Yeah.
So I should start this proclamation here? Wait, okay.
Yeah, we'll say, we can say some.
As soon as the students exit.
leave. Right. I'm glad that the students were here.
What's that? Oh, yeah. Quite a number of them.
I can go down to it. I'll go down to it.
Yes.
Yes.
The CTE.
CTE, yeah. But
Yeah. We should do that from now on.
Can you move forward?
all right, they're all standing in the
they
back.
Yes.
Okay, Dr. Canales.
Okay, so we begin the proclamations for March to our special educational staff and our educational diagnosticians. You know, our mission and our vision says that we make sure that all students reach their unique, full potential. And you're a very, very big part of that puzzle. So we look forward to this proclamation and to honoring you during the week of March 2nd to the 6th, but always, okay? So thank you for everything that you do. Mr. Robledo.
Whereas Texas Governor Greg Abbott has proclaimed March 2nd through 6th, 2020 as Educational Diagnostician Week to raise awareness of the important work these professionals perform every day in the Lone Star State. And whereas educational diagnosticians provide important services that benefit children, parents, schools, and communities in Texas. And whereas these professionals administer and interpret tests measuring academic achievement, adaptive behavior, intelligence, language skills, and perceptual motor skills. Therefore, Isidoro Nieto, President of the WISD Board of Trustees, does hereby proclaim March 2nd through the 6th, 2020 as Educational Diagnosticians Week. Congratulations.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you for all you do.
Let the record reflect that Dr. Jaime Rodriguez came in at 6:25. Item number 9, proclamation for Social Works Month, March 2020.
A month.
Dr. Canales.
And we do have several social workers in the audience. If you'll please stand up. Single thing that you do day in and day out to help make sure that our students' needs are met so that when it comes to academics and athletics and fine arts and everything else, CTE, they soar. Our proclamation, please.
All right, proclamation. Whereas professional social workers work on the front lines of human service delivery to help people solve real problems, and whereas professional social workers see firsthand the insidious effects and hatred and prejudice on individuals, families, and communities, including a rise in hate crimes, and whereas professional and social workers understand that crimes against individuals based on race, ethnicity, religion, gender, sexual orientation, political belief, and other characteristics diminish the humanity of victim and perpetrators alike. Therefore, Isidoro Nieto, President of the WISD Board of Trustees, does hereby proclaim March 2020 as National Social Worker Month. Congratulations.
Thank you for all you do.
Item number 10, public comments. We don't have anybody signed up for public comments tonight. Item number 11, Superintendent's Report. Dr. Canales, student enrollment first.
Board of Trustees, we have 3 student enrollment, insurance, advanced placement, and gifted and talented programs. I'll begin with district enrollment. When you compare our district 21st week enrollment last year versus this year, we're down 68. Last month in January, we reported being down 156. So this is good. We're still on the positive, but it's looking better with enrollment.
What caused the spike in enrollment to go?
Maybe it's a new semester. I would have to study and get with the team to figure out why did we increased numbers?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, we decreased the deficit, I guess.
right,
by
yeah, we
increasing-
decreased the deficit.
Okay, yeah, could we find that out? That'd be interesting.
Yes,
to
we can
find
add
out.
that for you.
Thank you.
Okay, and then when it comes to average daily attendance, we're up 68 compared to last year at this same time, the 21st week. And on the next slide, if you'll see, it's enrollment by campus level. In elementaries, we're still down 125. Middle schools are up 19. The data showing high schools are up 29. They were down last month relative to the time period, January 10th to January 10th, 2019. And as a total, grand total, we are down in enrollment 68. Last month, we reported down 156 compared to, January to January. For ADA, 52 difference in elementary schools, 10 to the positive in middle schools, and 111 to the positive for high schools, and for a 68 positive difference from the same time last year. So that concludes the attendance. We'll get you the enrollment difference in the board update.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. For the next, we have if you have any questions about that, we have the insurance, and Mr. De La Rosa will lead us through the insurance.
Good evening, Dr. Canales, Mr. President, members of the board. This is the standard insurance slide that we present. This data represents through January 31st of 2020. I'm going to approximate the numbers. In medical claims, last year through January, we're at $4.6 million. This year, we're at $4.2 million. Right now, that's a difference of $401,000 less. Prescription drugs, last year, we're at $1.8 million. This year, we're at 1.9, just a little over, or just under $50,000 increase this time last year. And then at fixed costs, last year we're at $1.3 million versus this year at $921,000. So that's a decrease of approximately $344,000. So everything totaling out, we're at $7.7 million last year versus just a little over $7 million this year in claims.
Sir, we're better off this year than last year.
Our claims are less, yes, sir,
Claims
so
are less.
far.
Okay. Any questions? Mr. Lopez? Mr. Gonzalez?
No.
Okay.
Moving on to the workers' comp, this is the standard slide again that we present for our self-funded workers' comp program. Number of claims through January last year were 56. This year we're at 34. We've incurred $148,862.42 versus last year of $154,370.76. So as you can see that we still have a little bit, we have $68,000 of outstanding reserves. And so far, we paid this year a little over $80,000 versus last year's $72,000. But remember, the paid versus encompasses everything claims throughout the past several years. So overall, we're doing well in our workers' comp program.
All right. Questions? Comments? All right.
That's great, thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Mr. Rosa. And for the last section of the superintendent's report, we do have Ms. Samantha Mize, Board of Trustees. When you had the board workshop earlier, a couple of months ago, you asked for information on GT and AP, so Mrs. Mize is going to present some information to us tonight. Welcome.
Dr. Canales, Mr. Nieto, board members. So first I'm going to start by giving you an overview of the services that we provide in the Gifted and Talented program. We have the Quest, which is K through 5, and that's a pull-out program. The students are serviced for 3 hours every week. The middle school program, we started the Advanced Academics Academy, which is the last time I presented to you guys. That's also a pull-out program that takes place in 6th through 8th grade. We also offer pre-AP classes, which include English 1 and Algebra 1 in the 8th grade level. But those are open for everyone as well. In the high school level, we service the GT students primarily through pre-AP, AP classes, UT on-ramps classes, and also through STC dual enrollment.
Question. What's UT on ramps?
A great program.
Okay.
So I can present again about that. So we've partnered up with UT Austin to have teachers facilitate their online classes at our high school campuses.
Okay.
We've had a lot of success. We actually just got the mid-year report, and I can write you a board update on that if you'd like.
Okay.
It's a really exciting opportunity.
I hadn't heard about it.
It's dual
That's all.
enrollment, but
Right.
different than STC.
Okay.
And it's from UT?
Yes, so if a child completes the course, they get a grade in the high school class, but also in the college class. And so if they get an A, B, or a C, or even a C minus, they can actually choose to elect to keep that college credit, and it transfers as a UT credit to many different universities.
Okay.
And there's involvement with UT professors in the process.
Yeah, they write the curriculum, and then our teachers are there to facilitate students' online learning process and do mini lessons if they anticipate students are not going to understand what the professor's asking them to do.
Okay.
What subjects do they take in particular?
So at Weslaco High School, we offer Physics 1 and Physics 2, including a physics lab. We have a lot of success there. We just brought on chemistry. We have computer science and I think statistics and geoscience. And then at Weslaco East High School, we have rhetoric, English rhetoric.
Okay.
These science classes, are the students able to do labs like the normal classes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so with chemistry, there's a chemistry class and a lab that comes with it. And so part of our agreement is that we provide the technology that they need, but also the lab equipment. So the students are completing labs that they would if they were at UT Austin.
And so they get college credit
Yeah.
automatically, right? Okay.
It's really exciting.
Okay, good. Go ahead.
The next thing is that when I first got this position, I noticed that some of the tests we were using when I'd go to the conferences were tests that weren't being used anymore, that were slightly outdated. The norms were correct, but the tests weren't capturing the type of students that would best fit our pull-out program. So I did some research over the first and second year, and we are now aligned with what most of the tests that they're using in the state of Texas are, which is great for transfer students who come into our district. We get anywhere from like 30 to 60 every year. And so these tests are more in line with what other districts are using, so it's easier for them to transfer when we have to retest them. So the first one is the cognitive abilities test. I could go on, but so basically it's quantitative, nonverbal, and verbal abilities. It's similar to what we were formerly using as the Naglieri, but a little bit higher in rigor. The Iowa Basic Skills Test is comparable to the Stanford reading and math test that we were using, but it's on a level that the students are, it's how the kids are being taught reading and math these days, whereas the Stanford was kind of outdated in the way that it was teaching, for instance, sounds and letters. And then we're still using the teacher evaluation scale, and we're still using the creativity test called the GIFT. This test asks the students a set of questions. We send it off to, I think, somewhere in Wisconsin, and Dr. Sylvia Rim, who is highly, she's highly educated in this area of gifted and talented, and she has the norms and like an algorithm that she punches all these answers in, and then they send us a report, and we get that back, and that tests their creativity on a percentile scale. So prior, we had 5 tests that we were using. Now we have 7 that we're looking at. Very comprehensive. Kids used to be able to qualify with an 84% or better in 3 out of the 5 areas. And now the kids are, we're using a point matrices for the students. So the COGAT is a little bit higher level and is scored with higher numbers of points. In that corner there on the left on your PowerPoint, you can see an example of the percentile rank score and how we give points for the COGAT and the Iowa Reading and Math. I decided on the matrix because I noticed that sometimes with some of the other tests that we were using, it's easier. Like for example, on a teacher evaluation, it may be different at every campus. Teachers may interpret it a little bit differently. So I'm looking at coming up with a teacher evaluation that's going to be aligned and very easy for everyone to follow, so that it's less subjective for the students. If that makes sense. So the total number of scored, total number of points that the student needs to get is a 62. So I chose that number because if you look on the bell curve, we're looking for students that are above average. And so we're looking at students that are going to be able to handle our pull-out program. And so these are the types of students anywhere with a state line of 7, 8, or 9 are the types of students that we're looking for. So I can, if anyone wants to know more about the point system that we're using, I can explain it to you later. It's pretty detailed, but we were able to qualify out of the 495 students that were referred this year in the fall. We qualified 109 students, which is a little bit more than we usually qualify. So it's great because we're still within the 5% that the state expects when they give us the gifted and talented money. So we're really in line. We're staying consistent with that, higher at a 6% than a 5%. This year, we're also applying these new tests to kinder screening, and something new that the Gifted and Talented State Plan asked of us was that we make sure we consider all of the kindergarten students. So I went forth and I screened all of the kindergarten students, 1,140 students. That was in like the 2nd or 3rd week of January. From that, we moved on to round 2, which would be students that qualified with a state line of a 6, 7, 8, or 9. 6 being kind of like a grace period of 7, 8, and 9 is pretty consistent. We wanted to see where the 6s would take us. It included about 200 more students, which I thought was great because as far as the economically disadvantaged campuses, we got some kids that might not have qualified under a 7, 8, and 9. So we're giving a really fair opportunity. We're still testing, so the end result is to be determined. But we did have 320 students that moved on to round 2, which is really exciting.
So you said there were more than last year? More?
Yes, in the fall, more students, so 1st through 12th grade students were tested, the ones that were referred to us, and we had more students that qualified with this new test on the point matrix than we did in previous years.
Okay, thank you.
And hopefully we catch a lot of kindergarten students that might not normally have been referred by their parents and teachers, so I'm excited for the opportunities that it might provide for other students that we would have missed.
Okay.
The next on our agenda is the participation in classes of AP and also AP exams. So last year, there was a lot of changes with AP and the way that College Board orders tests. I don't know if you're familiar. Normally, they're allowed to order the tests in the spring, I think around March and April. But this year, they wanted us to notify them of how many tests we were going to order in November. So school starts in August. Kids decide to stay or to drop out. They've got September, and then by November, they've got to determine, do I think I can take this AP exam? And one of the reasons that College Board did that, besides probably financials, was because they want students who are taking AP classes to be invested and the teachers to be invested in the coursework and make sure they're committing to continuing and following through with that class. So that was some changes for us at Weslaco High School and Weslaco East this year. We spent some time having discussions about aligning our practices and making sure that we're staying consistent so that it's easier for us to make sure we're modeling the same thing at each campus. And of course, encouraging students to make sure they're participating and really thinking clearly about when they're signing up for these classes with the end in mind of getting that credit. So changing the culture and what our expectations are as a district is something that I'm trying to move towards slowly. I heard that there were some questions about the different types of AP scholars that we can have. I know at the beginning of the school year, you guys recognized 31 students to be exact, of kids that received AP Scholar Awards. So there's AP Scholar, which is students who receive scores of 3 or higher on 3 or more of their AP exams. So we had 24 of those students, which is pretty consistent with the last 5 years. AP Scholars with honors, those students received an average score of 3.25 on all of their AP exams taken and scores of 3 or higher on 4 or more of those exams. AP Scholar with distinction, which is a little bit harder to achieve, of course, is students who receive an average score of at least a 3.5 on all of their AP exams taken and a score of 3 or higher on 5 or more of these exams. So a lot of the students in our district will take many AP exams. So if a student gets to a place where they're already getting an average of a 3.2 on their exams, they're doing really well in our AP program. And of course, achieving a 3.5 on most of the exams that they take is excellent. If you look over the course of the last 5 years, this past year we had 31 AP Scholars. Last year we had 41. The year before that was 30. So we're pretty consistent in the 30s. I'm looking forward to increasing that number in the future. There's a lot of scores here. The blue areas are where we have a lot of students participating and taking the exams in these AP classes. And the yellow is going to be our Weslaco ISD average score. So as you can see, we offer a lot of AP classes, which is really exciting. Pretty much almost all of them, of course, that we can offer. There's a few that are on this list that we are considering. The green is scores that are on average above a 3. So Spanish language has a high participation rate, and a lot of students score very well in that. If you look at the data, there's kids that are taking that as early as 9th and 10th grade. So they're already building that AP credit that's going to help them towards becoming an AP scholar sooner. Spanish Lit also very high. One thing to point out with these green areas is that we're above Texas state average and as well as the global average, so that's excellent. Also computer science principles, which I believe is only taught at Weslaco High School. That class is definitely very successful.
Which course did you say that?
The second row on the end, computer science principles.
Okay.
That's a successful course. They're all successful. One thing I've noticed in talking with these AP teachers and going into their classrooms is that there needs to be more support provided to them. So I am working to find out what they need. Communicating, we've already started, I'm communicating with the strategist, with Mrs. Peterson. We've already sat down and kind of came up with a plan of attack, right? We're aligning our district policies. We're starting to speak the same language at both places. I'm talking with our great AP coordinators at each of the campuses. They're excellent. They get a lot of stuff done. It's amazing. The teachers are great. They just need the support of our central office staff, and we're working together. We've already come up with a plan. I'm going to be meeting with those AP teachers in a meeting in March, calling them all together and really asking them what do they need from us here at central office. And I know that a lot of that's going to be curriculum and other materials to support them. And we've already made strides as far as improving our pre-AP curriculum, which will then transfer into those AP classes with building those kids with skills so that they're prepared when they get to AP classes. We're using College Board Springboard curriculum in English 1 and English 2 in our pre-AP classes, starting as early as 8th grade, and also in Algebra 1. Which also starts in 8th grade and continues into 9th grade. This year we're bringing on geometry, pre-AP, and we're in the discussion of possibly some sciences in the pre-AP areas as well. So I'm really excited about the future. I think we all are. Mrs. Peterson and Mr. Aguilar comment about how they think we have a great team, and I believe that. I know all the strategists are always looking to give me their information on what they think is best practices, and I appreciate that.
Questions?
Yes.
Mr. Kennedy?
No questions.
Dr. Jaime?
Samantha, I had a
Yeah.
question on the AP exams. Since the College Board changed the deadline to order the test, did we change our policies on our students? Who selects who takes the AP exam?
So formally, and this is kind of the aligned processes we're talking, is that at one of the campuses, it used to be kind of like a nomination basis of who was looking like they could handle taking the exam, whereas at another campus, it was more like, everyone's expected to take this exam, and in worst case, if a child really wasn't going to be able to handle it, but they wanted to stay in the class, maybe they wouldn't take the AP exam. But we're really trying to set the tone of the expectation of when you take this AP exam should be because you're committed to it, because you want to get that accelerated credit, and then it's not just for an added weight to your GPA, but for a better overall experience that we provide here in high school that will continue into college.
So they'll all be required to take the AP exam from here on out?
It's a practice that we're hoping to speak as a district to encourage everybody to do that. It's not a policy, it's a practice that we're putting in place.
And what about fees? Did we add fees?
Yes. So, the ordering is November 15th, but if a child decides that they want to take the exam after November 15th, there's a $40 charge. And if a child decides that they don't want to take that exam, it's a $40 charge, in addition to what we already paid for that exam.
And it should be good practice because AP exams will give you college credit if you score a 4 or 5 or 3,
Yeah.
so they get college credit to the major universities.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's where we really need to provide support to the teachers.
Correct.
And really give them what they're asking for, because we have a lot of really great teachers. I think that they just need to have more of a voice, and I'm here to provide that.
Good.
And I know the strategists are too.
Mr. Gonzalez?
No, thank you.
Mr. Lopez?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good, go ahead. And I think I brought it up to Dr. Canales because what I do normally is I compare with other districts.
Yeah.
And I know that Dr. Jaime's son scored with distinction, right, Dr. Jaime?
Yeah, I
It
believe
was
so.
which one? The distinction?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I believe, we had 24, 1, and 6, right?
Yeah.
And I compare with other districts, and other districts comparable to our size have quite a bit. And so that's just something I've always done. So I brought it up to Dr. Canales to see what we can do. Because in the 8th grade level, you mentioned Algebra 1, and quite a number of students scored mastery level this
Yeah.
past year. So those students are the ones that we should focus on to take those AP classes once they get to high school, which a lot of them do. But in every area also, we need to improve so we can have more students. And whatever you need, that Dr. Canales know, whatever resources you need for our pre-AP program. Because I know I have my grandniece is coming up in middle school, and I got to speak, and Mr. Gonzalez, I guess his boy's coming up, so I got to speak for that, so that way they can have that opportunity to be able to take those AP courses.
Definitely.
Thank you, good presentation.
Thank you,
Thank
Mrs.
you.
Thank
Mize.
you.
Thank you, thank you.
Yes, true. All right, next item on the agenda, item number 12, consent agenda. Let me start from my left. I'll give you a minute or two to kind of look at the agenda if you have the opportunity. I'll start on the right. Coach Cuellar, you need to pull any out?
No.
Mr. Lopez?
G.
G. Okay. Mr. Gonzalez?
No.
Mr. Dr. Jaime?
No, sir.
And Mr. Kennedy?
No, sir. Mr. President, I move to approve the consent agenda in its entirety.
Except for
Exception of
G,
G.
correct?
Section of G.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Kennedy to approve the consent agenda except for G. Any other discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item G, approval of purchase of replacement desktop and laptop computers for campuses for fiscal year 1920. Mr. Lopez, you had a question on that?
Yes, the reason I pulled this item is only for information purposes for our public.
Okay.
I know we're purchasing desktop and laptop computers for our campuses, and I would just like the public to know what we're doing. Carlos?
In this item, we're purchasing roughly 220 desktop computers and 150 laptop computers. We did the large purchase of over 4,000 Chromebooks in the fall, plus the projectors. So this is the latter part of the replacement computer money.
They'll be distributed throughout the schools?
Yes. The principals gave me a spreadsheet on their requirements on how many laptops, Chromebooks, desktops, and this is fulfilling that.
Does this satisfy all the need, or is there still more need?
There's still more need.
Okay. Tá bueno. Thank you for the information. That's all I wanted, that's all I had. And I'll make a motion at this point to approve item G on the consent agenda. Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Lopez, a second by Mr. Gonzalez to approve item G. Any other discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Discussion items, item number 13, interim financial report for the 5 months ended January 31st, 2020. Dr. Canales?
Board of Trustees, this is a no-action item, and Mr. Andres Sanchez will run through this report.
Mr. Nieto, Dr. Canales, members of the board, for the 5 months ended January 31, 2020, in the general fund, out of $183,844,000 budgeted of revenues, we have received $94,885,000. That represents 51.61%. Of the expenditures in all functions, we had budgeted $190,407,000. We have encumbered or expended $72,941,000, which represents 38.31%. At this time, all the functions look good. We're only 5 months into the year. Later on, when we get to May, we'll start seeing how things are coming out. But right now, we're doing good.
So we've only used 40% of it, so
38.
38,
Yeah,
40%.
we should be at 41.5 at
Okay.
5 months.
Any questions, comments?
Looks good.
Sir, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 14, discussion and possible action items. Item A, discussion and possible action for the board to consider approval to change the regular board meeting schedule on April 13, 2020. Dr. Canales.
Board of Trustees, the April board meeting, which is usually the second Monday of the month, is on April the 13th, 2020, which is a district weather day. So we're asking that we move that date to Monday, April 20th, 2020. That's a preferred date for administration. We also propose, if that one doesn't work for you, Thursday, April 16th, 2020. And of course, staff, we will abide by whatever you decide. So I recommend that you consider changing the regular board meeting scheduled on Monday, April 13th, 2020 to Monday, April 20th, 2020.
I'll move to approve the change to Monday, April 20th, 2020.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Kennedy and a second by Coach Cuellar to change the regular board meeting schedule on April 13th to April 20th, correct? All right. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item B, discussion and possible actions to submit a waiver application to exempt the implementation of a full-day pre-K-4 teacher at the Head Start centers. Dr. Canales.
Okay, Board of Trustees, this one, House Bill 3 requires school districts to provide a full-day teacher to eligible 4-year-old children. By submitting a waiver, the commissioner shall exempt a district if the implementation of a full-day teacher would require the district to construct new classroom facilities or result in fewer eligible children enrolled in pre-kindergarten. We're submitting the waiver to be exempt for the implementation of a full-day pre-K-4 teacher at our Head Start centers. At the Head Start centers, we have a Weslaco ISD teacher and a Head Start teacher as part of the MOU and partnership. So this is for those that we're submitting the waiver. So we ask that you approve that waiver application to the agency.
I'll move to approve.
We have a motion by Dr. Jaime.
I'll second.
We have a second by Mr. Gonzalez to submit a waiver application to exempt the implementation of a full-day pre-K-4 teacher at the Head Start centers. Any discussion?
I think we're still going to have teachers for the kids, right?
Yes, we do. It's a Weslaco ISD teacher and a Head Start teacher. So they kind of like flip-flop AM and PM.
Okay, and the law just requires, if we did do the waiver, they'd have to have one teacher for the whole day, and this allows us to substitute in 2 different teachers.
Right, and honor that partnership,
Okay.
that MOU.
That sounds fine.
Any other discussion? All right.
As long as we're in compliance, we're okay.
All right. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item C, discussion and possible action for the board to consider approval of the substantial completion for the construction of the Band Hall addition at Weslaco East High School project CSP number 180622. Dr. Canales.
Board of Trustees, we're just asking that you approve the substantial completion for the construction of the Band Hall addition at Weslaco East High School project. We had the ribbon cutting. The project was determined to be substantially completed on November the 8th, 2019. We've been working on this project since June 11th, 2018, when you approved NM Contracting LLC for the construction of it, which was at approximately $3.9 million. So that's what we're asking. Staff is here to ask any questions.
Did they fix the sound,
Acoustics,
the acoustics? Thank you.
acoustics, we went over that
He
this morning.
practiced this
How do
morning.
I pronounce that? So I just got it wrong.
Yeah.
Yes, well, not yet, sir, but we are working with ERO on
Has the
that.
city approved the substantial completion?
Yes, sir.
So they've cleared fire marshal, everybody's good?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Our kills have moved in and we're good, yes, sir.
Okay.
And was it worth the $3.9 million? I'm assuming
Yes,
that's
sir.
what they said, right?
Very, very nice
Yes.
building.
Very nice.
Very
Okay.
nice building.
Students love
Can
it.
you just make
Motion to
the
approve?
second?
We got a motion by Mr. Lopez and a second by Mr. Gonzalez to approve the substantial completion for the construction of the Band Hall addition at Weslaco East High School project. Any other discussion?
Just make sure on the acoustics, please.
Like the way you said that.
When do our students get in?
They've been in, sir.
They're in already?
Yes, sir.
All
They've been in.
right.
Ribbon
Yes,
cutting,
sir.
yes.
We had the ribbon cutting some time back and our kids have been,
As soon as the ribbon cutting happened,
Vamos. Yes, sir.
okay. Now we're okay. Now we have substantial
It's
completion.
very, very nice.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Who was the company that worked on that building?
our contractor was NM Contracting and our architects were ERO. ERO Architects, very, very
Very
good.
nice.
Very good firm, very proud, very happy, yes, sir.
All right, so we have a motion by Mr. Lopez and a second by Mr. Gonzalez. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item D, discussion and possible action for the board to consider approval of schematic design phase and design development phase for the roofing improvement project at 3 schools: Memorial Elementary, North Bridge Elementary, and the Weslaco High School Transition Center. Dr. Canales.
Okay, Board of Trustees, you approve the modification of the contract with ERO Architects to address building roofs at the following 3 campuses. We do have a lot of roofing needs. We've been trying to do these in phases. So the 3 campuses on the list are Memorial Elementary, Northbridge Elementary, and Weslaco High School's Transition Center. The project was approved on November 11, 2019. We are asking and recommending, Board, that you consider approval of the schematic design phase and design development phase of the roofing improvements projects at the 3 schools mentioned, and that the board consider to delegate to administration the authority to approve the construction documents phase of the project to expedite the competitive sealed proposal process. So staff is here to add details and answer any questions you may have.
Okay, we approved it in November. Now we're approving schematics in
And design development.
February. When will we be ready to go to construction?
Construction documents are about 50% as of last week. We expect that by the end of the month, we should be done with the construction documents, sir.
End of the month?
Yes,
So
sir.
go to bids,
In March. Well,
March.
we have a table on the bottom with a little
There's a-
reference guide on some dates.
There's a schedule on that.
So we would advertise March 15th.
Mhm.
And then release the plans and specifications March the 16th. And then advertise, the second advertising, March 22nd. And then March 24th, have a pre-proposal conference, which visit the campuses. And then the deadline to receive the proposals will be April, first week of April. And then seek board approval of the ranking of the proposals by April 20.
Now it's April 20,
Now
not
it's
April
April
13th,
20,
yes.
yes.
Deadline to receive proposals, March 13th. This is notice to proceed.
And the substantial completion November.
So basically start in May?
Yes, sir. And we gave ourselves a little bit of wiggle room, but I think we'll be spot on in May.
About 6 months from when we say go to when we actually do start. How many of our other schools are actually needing roof repairs?
Quite a bit.
We've got quite a bit, sir.
Andres, we need to make sure, and I know that Dr. Rivera is on me on this one as far as getting our schools re-roofed.
Yeah.
So let's make sure that if you do, by some chance, find some money available, that we get on the roofs.
And I will say, sir, that ERO has been working really close with us and staff, and they're trying to move as quickly as we can with these roofs.
And these three were the priority campus.
Yes, sir.
According to schedule.
Mhm.
Okay.
And the money is in the budget, is that correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay. Then I'll move to approve the schematic phase and also approve the decision to give the authority to the administration to approve the construction document phase.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Mr. Kennedy and a second by Dr. Jaime. Any other discussion? All right. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Item number 15, closed meeting to discuss. The board will now go into closed meeting to discuss personal matters, employment of personnel, resignations, deliberation regarding the appointment, employment evaluation, reassignment duties, discipline, or dismissal of a public officer or employee. A, superintendent's recommendation for the position of Director of Information Systems, PIMS. B, deliberation regarding acquisition of real property. C, consultation with attorney regarding A, pending or contemplated litigation. B, a settlement offer. C, a matter in which the duty of the attorney to the Weslaco ISD under the Texas Disciplinary Rules of Professional Conduct of the State Bar of Texas clearly conflicts with Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code. It is 7:04, and we will be going into executive session. The time is now 7:45 PM, and the Board of Trustees is now continuing with this open meeting. We're going to revisit item D, correct, Mr. Perez? Discussion of possible action for the board to consider approval of schematic design phase and design development phase for the roofing improvements project at 3 schools. Go ahead, Mr. Kennedy.
Your Honor, Mr. President, it has come to our attention that when we approved item 14D, we made 2 approvals. One was to approve the schematic design phase, and the second was to delegate to the administration the authority to approval of construction documents. However, The second approval was not listed on the agenda, so I move to rescind that vote.
I'll second.
So we have a motion to rescind item D by Mr. Kennedy, a second by Dr. Jaime. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye. At
All
this,
opposed, motion carries. Okay.
at this time, Mr. President, I move to approve the schematic design phase only.
Well, it's,
And design development.
And design development phase, yes, but not to delegate authority to the administration.
Correct?
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion by Mr. Kennedy, a second by Dr. Jaime. Any more discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right, now we go to possible action if necessary on items discussed in closed meeting. Discussion and possible action on new employment. Dr. Canales?
Dr. Canal. Thank you, Mr. Nieto. I ask that you approve the appointment of new personnel as discussed in closed session.
so moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Gonzalez and a second by Dr. Jaime to approve new employment. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item 2, discussion and possible action on resignations. No action.
No action.
Item 3, discussion and possible action on acquisition of real property. Dr. Canales? Oh, Mr. Kennedy?
Mr. Nieto, I move that to direct legal counsel to proceed as directed in closed session.
Second.
So we have a motion by Mr. Kennedy and a second by Mr. Gonzalez to allow our attorney to follow as recommended in closed session. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item number 4, discussion and possible action on the superintendent's recommendation for the position of Director of Information Systems, PIMS.
This is a no action item for you trustees.
Okay, no action. Adjournment.
So moved.
It is
Oh,
7:49.
too slow on that one.
All right.